And good evening. You're listening to the Modern Mystic Radio Show. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm super excited today because I've got a special guest with me. His name is Andrew Dee. He's an international spirit medium, works in the UK and abroad as well. I'm going to be introducing him in a couple of moments, but before I do, I'm just going to remind you of how you can contact me. You can contact me on my website, which is www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook under Modern Mystic and Mystic Sarah, where I will be doing a weekly live free psychic session. Next one is this Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my special guest for tonight. It's Andrew Dee. Hi Andrew, how are you?
Good evening, Sarah, or good morning. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay.
Yes, I'm really, really well, thank you. And thank you so much for coming onto my show tonight. Right, so first of all, I want to find out a little bit more about how you got into the whole psychic world. How did your psychic journey start for you?
Do you know what, Sarah? I saw a little clip of somebody else today, and I've always been aware of spirits since I was a child, and I'll be honest that there was things that I saw, I felt, I was aware of, as a boy, but there was nowhere really to go with it. People couldn't really help me, or there was nobody to ask because I wasn't really brought up in a family. Now, am I right in thinking you were brought up in a family of mystics and psychics? Were you?
No. So similar to yourself, I had experiences as a child that I couldn't really. You just write it off because you got nowhere to kind of ask about it. And it wasn't until a little bit later, sort of in my teens, that I started to sort of like try and find out a little bit more about what my experiences, on a personal level, what they were. I wanted to understand them, and that kind of led me into the whole psychic arena, very, very quickly from the age of about 17. But how did your journey start?
Well, it was all, as I said, as a child, there was things I was aware of, things I saw, and the thing I remember the most was that when I used to close my eyes to go to sleep at night, I would see faces, and I'd think, oh yeah, that's Grandad, that's Auntie Jean, or whoever, but it was the faces I didn't recognise at the time, and it still happens today, but it was only as time went on. And like you said, I had nowhere to go with it. I had nobody to talk to. And I effectively sort of got on with life, and I joined the military when I was 19 for nearly 25 years. And it was about 10 years ago, I was a friend of my mom's said, you really must do something with this gift of yours. And I went to the local spiritualist church where I was living in Swindon at the time, which is in the south of England, if you're listening, that's right, guys. And the guy that said, hey, everybody, this is Andrew, get Andrew down here. Andrew's got a message. And I said, what's a message? And you've got a message from the spirit world for somebody in this room. And he went through this step-by-step process, and he took me through it, and somebody in the room put the hand up and said, Andrew, I can take all of that. I was like, I understand what you're talking about. It's like, oh, wow, okay, everybody give Andrew a round of applause for his first message. And that was good, a little bit later than yourself. And here we are on A1R, 10 years later.
Wonderful. So how do you work? Are you more a medium or are you a psychic? How would you define yourself?
It changes all the time, Sarah. I used to say to people, I do some psychic stuff, and that's me tuning in with your energy and blah, blah, blah. And I tend to say to people now that, look, all my information that I receive comes from the spirit world in one way or another, or it's the universe. You call it what you want. I tune into the energies around us, and whether that is your loved ones coming through the left the physical realm, and they want to come through and give you some direct evidence that they are still well and alive and they are fine, that's great. But a lot of times, Sarah, that people will be talking to me and they'll say, do you know what? There was a lady today, and she said, you're sat there in that chair just like my father. She said, you're leaning on your hand the way my father did. You got his mannerisms. So, that's somebody directly, what I would say, is overshadowing me. Other times, I know it's not my words, it's just the spirit world channeling through me. And I think, look, what I'm telling today is not me imparting you with my advice. This is me just being a voice box
Mm-hmm.
for the universe, for the spirit world. So that's the main side. I know when I'm working differently, because people say, well, how do you know the difference? But I can tell the difference between when it's me tuning in with them and picking up things from them, like the old radios. The old radios when you tuned a radio in many years ago. But for the most part, I work with the spirit world.
Okay. Right, so if you could just move your mic down just a little bit lower for me, that'd be fantastic. Okay, so has there been like one most memorable client or one most memorable experience where, you've been working psychically that really stands out above the rest?
Oh, God. I'll tell you this much. In the last 18 months, I've done about 800 readings, so it's...
my goodness.
Yeah, it's quite a lot to sort of try and think back on. Oh, God, I'm trying to think. Tell you what, I'll send my thoughts out to the universe. Ask me another question, and I'll come back to that one, because I know they will remind me of somebody or something.
Okay, well, we can go back to that one. So tell us a little bit about what you are planning, psychic-wise, what are you planning for the future? So you obviously work privately now in the UK, and you do demonstrations as well in the UK. What are your plans for the future?
Well, I'm sort of in a bit of a transition, really, Sarah, because I just spent 3 months in the States. I got back in June. I went out there in March, and that was a fantastic experience. I was in Massachusetts, and I was on an extended vacation. But people always find out what you do, and they come find you and ask you to do different things. So that was thoroughly enjoyable, but it was a bit of a culture shock because I got so much into being out there and then had to come back to the UK. So I've been regrouping really, because it did take a lot of energy from me, or it did take a lot of, I would say my energy. So I've been regrouping, and I really just feel like that, when we had that chat the other week about coming onto your show, I really sort of started to get back online again now. So I've had a couple of calls today, people asking me to do events in this country, in various parts of the country, whether it's demonstrations of clairvoyance, whether it's being part of a psychic fair doing one-to-one readings. I'm in liaison with a local TV company here in Liverpool about maybe something coming up in the future, but it's always a tough call with mainstream TV. Is this something they want to deal with? Is this something they want to be involved with? So I'm pushing that hard, and I'm back off to the States, North Carolina, back in December. I've been asked to go and do some lectures in North Carolina, in Durham and Raleigh out there. So guys, hi to North Carolina if you're listening in.
Oh, fantastic. These lectures, tell us more about them. So what are these lectures going to be about?
Well, the lectures themselves, there's going to be some mediumship involved, so there's going to be some demonstrations of clairvoyance, but for the most part, it's my sort of take on it, because it's little things like people say, well, how do we know there's a spirit world out there? And, I'm an engineer by trade, my degree is in engineering, but when you look at Nikola Tesla, he said if you want to view the universe, look at it through terms of frequency and vibration. Einstein himself said, you can't destroy energy, you can only change its form. And it's getting people's heads around the idea that we are consciousness, we are energy, we are a frequency ourselves. And one of the things I always tell people when I work with the spirit world is that, I raise my vibration, I raise my frequency to talk to the spirit world. They lower theirs, and, we meet in the middle, or, sometimes it's like this, and other times it's sort of spot on. We get that lock on like a radar, and it's understanding what's going on around us. One of the things people do say to me, excuse me, I don't believe in any of that. I don't really believe in what we're doing, or I don't believe in what you do. I say, well, look, it's been scientifically proven that, there's something like 0.05% of the light that we can see. Sorry, the light that we can see is only 0.005% of what's available. On the light spectrum. So if we can only see such a fraction of all the light available, what are we missing? And I fully believe there are worlds within worlds. Even the what do they call them? The quantum mechanics guys, the boffins, the eggheads, the geeks. the scientists, they're all getting on board with this, and they believe, we have a worlds within worlds. And they've even proven that if you observe an electron, it behaves differently as if you're not observing it. So It's like that saying, isn't it? Does a tree make a noise when it falls in the forest if there's nobody there? So, what's happening that we're not looking at, and when we look at it, it changes. And what the scientists are saying is, we create our own reality. And you've heard of the positive thinking. A universal law of attraction, cosmic order. You heard all of that. So the scientists are now saying we can prove, or we can change our environment, we can change our reality just by our thoughts and our actions and our deeds. And that's the basis of the lectures. But I'm going to bring some mediumship into it to prove that, undoubtedly that our loved ones do exist, that they are still there in consciousness, and they bring that information back from the physical life. From the spirit world to the physical life, for proof to those of us who are still here.
That sounds absolutely amazing. So if any of our viewers would like to join your lecture, how can I do that?
Well, at the moment, it's sort of in embryonic form at the moment. It's going to be the 7th of December. That's the date we've got planned. I just need to iron out a few small details, but all my dates are on my website, www.andrewdee.com, and if you go on there, I keep all my dates on there, and sometimes if there are small tweaks and changes, maybe the exact location or the details of the exact meeting or the times, but I never really put anything on my website until I know it's going to happen. So that's what's going to be happening. So guys, andrewdee.com, that's the place to be.
Fantastic. And people can book a reading with you as well through your website too, can't they?
They can. They can book direct, or they can get in touch with me, and I will work that out for them, and we will get through there. So, go to my website, guys. You can see all the information you need.
Oh, fantastic. Now, we have our first caller ready and waiting. Her name is Laurie, and she's from Saskatchewan in Canada. Laurie, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi,
yes,
Laurie.
I'm here.
I'm going to pass you over to Andrew Dee, who's waiting. He's going to do your reading for you tonight. Do you have a question for Andrew?
Whatever he comes up with is fine. I guess my future, like my financial, the divorce, anything like that, that's going to come to an end soon. A new person in my life, like anything, whatever he could come up with, I guess.
Okay, over to you.
Okay, then. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't catch. Is it Laurie or Lauren?
Laurie.
Laurie. Hi, Laurie. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, listen, it's fantastic that you've joined us here on Sarah's show, the Modern Mystic Show, and it's a delight for me to be here. But one of the things I'm picking up from you, Laurie, is that I've got to ask you this, because sometimes, Saskatchewan, it's a long way away from here. But one of the things I'm picking up here, Laurie, have you suddenly become, and I always say that the universe puts me in the place I need to be, and then we work on the stuff that you actually want. But Laurie, have you been, I don't know, either restricting yourself from going out recently, or have you sort of locked yourself away or become a little... I'm just thinking of tarot cards now, and I've been shown a hermit here. So have you become a little bit hermit-like, and you've sort of not really been putting yourself out there, or you've not really been getting out there into the world? Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, I've been sitting tight financially, and just sitting at home and like working, but I don't go out, So, yeah.
Yeah, okay then. And what I'm being told here from my guides is that, that is sort of key to the issues you've been asking about, finances. And I understand totally that if you go out, or if you haven't got money to go out, then of course you need to stay in. But what I'm being told here regarding future prospects and relationships, it's about putting yourself in the shop window again and actually networking here, Laurie. And one of the cards have been drawn, which I'm sure you'll be able to see on the playback, is from my Sonia Chiketa deck here, and it actually says it's not an emergency. And I know that you have been sort of up and down and up and down. And I want to say emotionally, I feel as though there's been real. I'm being shown, and we were talking about energy before. I'm being shown a real sine wave here, and it feels there's been real peaks and troughs here with your emotions. So, have you been a little bit teary as well recently, Laurie?
Yes, I have been. Well, this divorce is driving me crazy.
Okay. I'm sure it is, and I'm sorry to hear about that. But what I am being shown is that the emergency that and your husband or your ex-to-be, I believe he can be a little bit of a pedantic sort, can't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I know he's playing hardball here as well. But I'm being told here, Laurie, don't get drawn into, and I've got to say, please forgive me, but I've been told don't get drawn into the pettiness, because I feel that it doesn't matter what you do, you bend over backwards and there'll always be something else that's being demanded of you. So I'm being shown here, draw the line in the sand and say, look, enough is enough. And I feel as though that way, and it's almost like, it's not really that he wants certain things, it's not really that he demands it, it's just almost, hey, it's just to screw you, okay? And I've got to be honest about say it's become personal now rather than about just going your own separate ways. So don't get drawn in, and I feel as though draw the line in the sand. And the emotion side of it is and the reason I'm saying get yourself out there is because I'm being told, don't overthink things, okay? Don't mull things over. Don't sort of build mountains out of molehills, and you'll soon start to see a lot of what's going on around you dissipate. You'll feel more confident in yourself, and you'll want to start getting out there in the world. And one thing, I'm sorry to touch on this, Laurie, but I've got to ask this. Somebody just passed me something. Have you been sort of comfort eating recently?
Have been what?
Have you been comfort eating?
I've got a poor appetite, honestly. Honestly, I'm so stressed out that I can't even think of eating. Like, food's a real turn-off for me, but, like, I'll have a cinnamon bun or something like that, like a treat.
Okay. Yeah. I was seeing the opposite end there. I thought it was the other end. But, well, diet and obviously, the whole health kicks in and everything there. So, please try and take care of yourself. And this will straighten itself out. The hearing, you're going to have to be a little bit cruel to be kind. So can I leave that with you, Laurie?
Yeah, you can leave that with me. Do you see a new guy in my life? Like, I've got a couple of friends in the States, and we talk every day. I don't know, like, what would become out of that.
Well, can I just ask you, is your father in spirit?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, because I've just heard him say, will you please tell her all in good time? Hasn't she had enough man trouble?
That's true.
Okay. I need to leave the name Bob here with you. So would you understand Bob linking into your dad?
Oh, Bob. Yeah, he's got relatives that are Bob and... Okay. Well, listen, I'll just leave that with you, Lloyd. But the message was just all in good time. You will get straightened out with everything. But right now, you just don't need any more load adding to, any more load adding to you. So it'll all smooth out for you. Don't worry about that. Okay. Okay. Well, hopefully soon, because it's been like 2 years and 3 months already.
Well, thank you, Laurie, for coming through. I hope you enjoyed your reading. We now have to go over to our next caller, which is Dulcina in Arnold, Pennsylvania. Hi, Dulcina, are you there?
Hello.
Hi. I'm going to pass you straight over to Andrew. We've only got a few minutes left. So do you have a question for Andrew?
Yes, if our life, my family's life would change for the better.
Okay, and sorry, I didn't catch your name. What was your name again, please?
Dulcina.
Dulcina?
Yes.
Okay, Dulcina, will your life's family change? Sorry, you're breaking up there slightly. Dulcina, what I'm being drawn here, a card for you. Well, do you know what? I've drawn the Celebrate You card here, and like I said, you will see this when when you watch this played back on the YouTube channel. And the Celebrate You card here is, Dulcina, I'm being told that either you're surrounded by or you are, there's people around you are probably not either trustworthy or they're slightly two-faced or they're not really being truthful or really, I just feel as though people are not really being themselves in front of you. There's like two sides to them, to their personality, the side that you see and the side that you don't see. So would you understand this around you with those people that you associate with?
Well, I normally don't associate with many people because of a health issue.
Mm-hmm.
The main persons I'm around is my husband and my children and some of the people he works with.
Okay, so you can't relate to what I've just said at all, no? In any way?
I can guess.
Okay. Well, what I'm being told here is, just be careful who you trust. And, and what was the question again? You asked, are things going to improve for your family?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's one of the areas. You've got to be careful who you socialise with, and you've already told me you don't really associate with many people apart from your close family. Excuse me. But I am being told things will improve. But do you mind me asking, Dulcina, one of the areas I'm being drawn into, for your children, or maybe even other people's children around you, are there some concerns about their education, about not graduating or not finishing school, or maybe their education, they've not been given the correct education? Would you understand this?
Yes, my oldest daughter is planning on going to college, and she'll graduate in 2008, so it'll be this school year coming.
Okay.
2018, I mean.
Okay. Well, who is it around you? Is it one of your other children that didn't graduate, or they didn't go on to achieve the education that you thought they might do?
I have two children. One's 14, one's 16, one's 17, and they're still minors yet. So.
Okay then. Well, I'm being drawn very much into the education around them, and all I feel as though is if as a parent, it's important that you're there for them, and we as parents we can never get it right, but I'm being shown educationally, if you can be there for them. For when they need you, they're going to work out okay. That's going to pan out for them. And regarding your husband, now, do you mind me asking, is your husband self-employed or does he work alone? Because I see him sort of doing work that he's not surrounded by many other people, or his work is sporadic. So would you understand this about his work at all?
He's a cook at a bar.
He's a what, sorry?
He's a cook. He works at a bar, so he works in the kitchen.
Okay. Does he tend to work alone, does he?
Most of the time, but it gets him exhausted.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, because, that's one of the areas I've been drawn into, and that's why I asked you, was he working alone or was he self-employed? Because I saw him stood alone doing this work, and the exhaustion is something that was the next point I was going to get to about, maybe looking in different areas for his work, because, it's okay, putting in 50, 60, 70 hours a week, but I know there is employment out there that he could possibly do, that he could reduce his hours and maybe pull in, similar money. So I'm hearing the words here for him, Dulcie, work smarter, not harder. And this will start to pay dividends for him. So keep an eye on the kids' education, as most of us do. And with your husband, if he can work smarter, not harder. And for you, I'm just sending some healing out there regarding that. Okay, so anything to add on that at all, Sarah?
No, that's absolutely fantastic. We are nearly at the end of our show, so I'm going to say thank you to Dulcina and Laurie for coming through. Also, thank you to you, Andrew. Now, just again, quickly remind everybody of how they can get hold of you.
Okay, guys, if you go to my website, it's www.andrewdee.com, and if you would like to get a private reading from me, or touch base, or just find out a little bit more about my work or where I'm going to be when I get stateside in December. I was due to be in Massachusetts in September, but, personal situations have taken over. So house moves. This place might not be here when I get to North Carolina, but never mind. Anyway, so guys, andrewdee.com. That's how to find me, and I'm sure we'll speak soon. Take care.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. And just to remind everybody, you can get hold of me on www.modern-mystic.co.uk. Have a lovely week. Enjoy the rest of the shows, and I'll see you same time next week. Goodbye for now.